to a Warhammer 40k 8th edition matched play Battle-Forged battle report. Today we will be playing the Maelstrom of War mission Cleanse and Capture on a deployment style of Dawn of War. This is the board we will be playing on today. Objective number 3 is right there. Objective number 2. Objective number 1. Objective number 4 over in the ruins. Objective number 5. And objective number 6. Taking a look at the armies, we have 2,500 points, Death Guard versus Ultramarines. Both are Battle-Forged, as mentioned before. On the Death Guard side, we have a super heavy auxiliary detachment with the Warlord Mortarion. He is armed with his regular weapons of Silence and the Lantern, Attendant's Claws and Teeth, and Phosphex bombs. He knows the psychic powers Smite, Miasma of Pestilence, Blades of Putrefaction, and Curse of the Leopard. And his Warlord trait is Arch Contaminator, which is reroll all failed wound rolls when resolving attacks made with a plague weapon for any friendly Death Guard units within 7 inches of the Warlord. We also then have a battalion detachment. It has 2 malignant plague casters, a plague surgeon who has been given the Relic of Decay, the Suppurating Plate. We have a Plague Marine squad with a Plague Champion and 6 regular Plague Marines. The Plague Champion has a Plague Knife, Power Fist, Plasma Gun. There are 2 other Plasma Guns in the squad, a Bubotic Axe, and everyone else has regular weapons, Bolt Guns and Plague Knives. 2 10-man Poxwalker squads rounds out the battalion detachment. Just 10-man squads, no upgrades. We then have an Outrider detachment led by a Demon Prince of Nurgle with wings. He knows the psychic power Smite and Plague Wind. He also has 2 sets of Malefic Talons. We have 3 Fetid Bloat drones, all with Flesh Mowers and Plague Probes. And finally, we have a Spearhead detachment with a Demon Prince of Nurgle with wings. Same loadout as in the Outrider detachment, so he knows Smite, Plague Wind, and has 2 sets of Malefic Talons. We have a Chaos Land Raider with a Twin Heavy Bolter and 2 Twin Last Cannons, and then 2 Plague Burst Crawlers. They both are kitted out the same way. 1 Plague Burst Mortar, 1 Rot Hail Volley Gun, and 2 Plague Spitters. And that is exactly 2,500 points. It is 133 power, and it is a total of 8 command points. Moving over to the Ultramarines, they have a super heavy auxiliary detachment with a single Knight Crusader. He has an Avenger Gatling Cannon, 1 Heavy Flamer, 1 Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, 2 Heavy Stubbers, and Titanic Feet. Then we have a battalion detachment, which is being led by the Warlord, which is a captain on a bike. He is armed with a bolt pistol, a pair of lightning claws. The bike has a twin bolt gun, frag and crack grenades. He has the chapter relic, the armor Indomitus, which the wearer of the armored Indomitus has a save characteristic of 2+. In addition, once per battle, before making one of the wearer's saving throws, you can choose to activate the armor's force field. When you do so, the armor Indomitus confers a 3+ invulnerable save for the remainder of the turn. He has the stratagem Chapter Master, which was used at the beginning of the battle, which is select Adeptus Astartes Captain in your army, replace the spell's Captain keyword with the Chapter Master, and replaces Rites of Battle ability with following ability. Chapter Master, you can reroll any failed hit rolls for friendly chapter units within 6 inches of the model. You can only use the stratagem once, and your army cannot include 2 chapter masters from the same chapter. So he will be using that for 3 command points right away. And his warlord trait is Iron Resolve, which is add 1 to the wounds characteristic of your warlord. In addition, roll a dice each time the warlord loses a wound. On a roll of 6, your warlord shrugs off the damage and does not lose the wound. We also have a Primaris Lieutenant with a bolt pistol, power sword, frag and crack grenades. He is going to use the stratagem Relics of the Chapter. Use the stratagem before the battle. Your army can have 1 extra chapter relic for 1 command point or 2 extra chapter relics for 3 command points. All of the chapter relics that you include must be different and be given to different Space Marine characters. So he will only be taking 1, obviously. And that will be for 1 command point because no one else will be taking any more chapter relics. But for his, he will take the Burning Blade, which will replace his power sword. And it is strength +2, AP -5, and damage 1, and it's a melee weapon. So we then have 3 tactical squads, all 5-man tactical squads with a sergeant, missile launcher, 3 regular guys with bolt guns. The sergeants all have bolt gun, bolt pistol, just like the regular guys, and all 3 squads are kitted out the same way. There's a 4th troop choice, which is a 9-man intercessor squad with a sergeant and 8 regular intercessors. All have bolt pistols, bolt rifles, frag grenades, and crack grenades. Then we have a bike squad with 1 biker sergeant and 5 Space Marine bikers. The sergeant has power fist, 2 guys have plasma guns, and the other 3 have chain swords. Second fast attack unit is 1 Inceptor Sergeant with 2 Inceptors. They all have 2 Assault Bolters each. There are 2 flyers in this army, 2 Storm Raven gunships. They are each kitted out the same way, 1 Twin Assault Cannon, 1 Typhoon Missile Launcher, 2 Hurricane Bolters, and 2 Storm Strike Missile Launchers. And finally, we have a dedicated transport, which is 1 Repulsor, which has 1 Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, 1 Twin Last Cannon, 2 Frag Storm Grenade Launchers, 2 Iron Hail Heavy Stubbers, 2 Crack Storm Grenade Launchers, and 3 Storm Bolters. And that is both armies in their entirety. And so now we will find out who has what side. On a 1, 2, or 3, the armies will set up on the side that they are currently closest to. So Death Guard will set up on that side. Ultramarines will set up on this side. 4, 5, or 6, they will set up on the opposite side. And it's a 4. So we will be back after deployment. A couple of things that I forgot to mention before we begin the game and before I go over the deployment. The Ultramarines army was also exactly 2,500 points. They had 128 power total and 6 command points total, which of course, using the 2 stratagems at the beginning of the battle, puts them down to 2 command points left. The other thing that I forgot to mention was the psychic powers and the war gear from the Malignant Plague Casters. They both have a bolt pistol, corrupted staff, blight grenades, crack grenades, and they both have the same psychic power loadouts. They have Smite, Gift of Contagion, and Putrescent Vitality. So let's take a look at the deployment here. We have a Bloat Drone, Plague Burst Crawler, Bloat Drone, Crawler, Land Raider with everyone inside, a squad of Poxwalkers, Mortarion, Demon Prince, Poxwalkers, Demon Prince. And for the Ultramarines deployment, we have Tactical Squad, Repulsor with the Primaris Lieutenant and the 9 Intercessors inside, Storm Raven, Tactical Squad, Night Titan, Storm Raven, Captain on Bike, Grandmaster on Bike, and the Bike Squad, Tactical Squad, and the Inceptors are in reserve. So that's the deployment. The Ultramarines finished setting up first, so they will have first turn and obviously take it, unless the Death Guard are able to steal the initiative. and they do not, but they will use the command reroll stratagem, go down to 7 command points, and attempt to steal it. And they still don't. So, going into Ultramarines, turn 1. So going into Ultramarines, turn 1, first we will flip over 3 objective cards. So we have no prisoners, score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during your turn. If between 3 and 5 enemy units were destroyed during your turn, score D3 victory points instead. And if 6 or more enemy units were destroyed, score D3 plus 3 victory points. We have defend objective 4, score 2 victory points if you control objective marker 4 at the end of 2 consecutive turns, which is on the enemy side of the board, so that will be difficult to achieve. And a big game hunter, score 1 victory point if at least 1 enemy unit with a wounds characteristic of 10 or more was destroyed during this turn. If at least 1 enemy unit with a wounds characteristic of 20 or more was destroyed during this turn, score D3 victory points instead. So those are the 3 that they have to work with. So going into the movement phase, starting from left to right, tactical squad is going to stay put. The bike squad and the captain are going to move 14 inches up the board over to here. And the captain will move up behind. The Storm Raven is going to pivot slightly and then move 20 up to there. Night Titan will stay put. Tactical squad will stay put. This Storm Raven is going to fly up the board 20. The Repulsor will move up 10. And this tactical squad will stay put. So that is the end of the movement phase. The Inceptors will not come in this turn. Going into the Psychic phase, Ultramarines have no Psychers. So then we will move right into the shooting phase. So start of the Ultramarine shooting phase, we're going to start with this Storm Raven. It's going to fire both of its Hurricane Bolters, rapid fire, into this Demon Prince, the more middle one, next to Mortarion. And then it's going to shoot the Assault Cannon, the Storm Strikes, and the Typhoon Missile Launcher in crack missile form into Mortarion. Okay, so starting with the Hurricane Bolters into the Demon Prince, which he can shoot at because the Demon Prince is the closest model to the Storm Raven. We have 24 shots from the Hurricane Bolters. Hitting on 3s, 13 hits, wounding on 5s because strength 4 versus toughness 6. Getting 4 wounds. The Demon Prince has a 3+ armor save, and he makes all of them. Next, we'll do the 2 Storm Strike missiles into Mortarion, hitting on 3s, missing with both. Then the 2 crack missiles from the Typhoon Missile Launcher into Mortarion, hitting on 3s. 1 hit, strength 8 versus toughness 7, so wounding on a 3. And it does not wound. Then the Twin Assault Cannon, 12 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 9 hits, strength 6 versus toughness 7, so wounding on 5s, getting 2 wounds. These have a -1 AP value, so Mortarion will get a 3-up save. And he fails 1, fails 1 because the 4 passed, because the -1 makes it a 4-up save, so the 4 passed, but he also has a disgustingly resilient roll, which he also passes, so he takes no wounds. We will then move on to this Storm Raven, which will fire everything into the Plague Burst Crawler. Starting with the Hurricane Bolters in rapid fire range onto the Plague Burst Crawler. Hitting on 3s. 24 shots, hitting on 3s, 9 misses, so 15 hit. Strength 4 versus toughness 8 means 6s to wound. and getting no wounds. Moving on to the Storm Strike missile launchers. 2 shots, hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Strength 8 versus Toughness 8, 4 to wound. And it wounds. It's a -3 AP. So it goes from a 3-up save to a 6-up, which means it will use its 5-up invulnerable save instead, which it fails, but then it also has a 5-up disgustingly resilient roll, which it makes. 2 crack missiles, hitting on 3s, 1 hit, wounding on a 4, nothing. And then the 12 assault cannon shots, hitting on 3s, getting 8 hits, wounding on 5s, strength 6 versus toughness 8, getting no wounds. The repulsor is going to fire into this bloat drone, which is just within 18 inches. So we will start with the twin last cannon. 2 shots, hitting on 3s, 1 hit, strength 9 versus toughness 7, 3 to wound, and it misses. 3 storm bolters outside of rapid fire range. 6 shots, hitting on 3s, strength 4 versus toughness 7, wounding on 5s, 1 wound, no AP, so a 3-up armor save, which he makes. Then moving on to the 2 crack storm grenade launchers. We have 2 shots, hitting on 3s, 1 hit, strength 6 versus toughness 7, wounding on a 5, getting nothing. 2 iron hail heavy stubbers, 3 shots each for 6 shots total, hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits, wounding on 5s, getting 3 wounds. And these have an AP of -1, so it goes from a 3-up save to a 4-up save. And he makes 1, failing 2. The bloat drone does have a disgustingly resilient roll, which it makes 1 of. So it takes 1 wound and goes from 10 down to 9. Moving on, we have the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, which is 12 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 10 hits, strength 5 versus toughness 7, 5s to wound, getting 3 wounds. This also has an AP of -1, so a 4-up armor save, making 2, with 1 disgustingly resilient roll, and it fails, bringing it from 9 down to 8 wounds. Finally, we have a Frag Storm grenade launcher. We have 2 of those, and those are assault D6 shots. So this is the number of shots. We get 8 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus toughness 7 is a 5 to wound, getting 1 wound. And this has an AP of 0, so a 3-up armor, which it fails, and a 5-up disgustingly resilient, which it also fails, dropping it from 8 to 7 wounds. This tactical squad is going to shoot a crack missile into the wounded bloat drone. It is able to see, but over 50% of it is definitely obscured. Probably 80% is, so it will get a bonus to its armor save. So 1 shot, and it misses, needing a 3 to hit. This tactical squad is going to shoot a crack missile into the Land Raider, needing a 3 to hit, and it hits. Strength 8 versus toughness 8, needing a 4 to wound, and it wounds. Land Raider has a 2+ armor save, and the crack missile is -2 AP, so it has a 4-up, goes up to a 4-up save, which it makes. This tactical squad is going to shoot a crack missile into Mortarion, needing a 3 to hit, and it hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7, needing a 3 to wound, and it fails. The Knight Crusader is going to shoot everything that it can into Mortarion. He will be 50% hidden from the ruin in front, so he will get a +1 to his cover save, or to his armor save. We will start with the Avenger Gatling Cannon, which is 12 shots. Hitting on 3s. Getting 6 hits. Strength 6 versus Toughness 7. Means a 5 to wound. Getting 3 wounds. And this is a -2 AP. So Mortarion has a 4+ armor save because of the bonus from cover, but he also has a 4+ invuln. So we'll just use the invuln here. 4 up invuln. Making 2, failing 1. But he has a disgustingly resilient roll. Which he does not make. So he takes a wound. And he goes from 18 wounds down to 17. This bike squad is going to shoot into the Poxwalkers. They are just outside rapid fire range. So we'll start with the twin bolt guns. There are 6 twin bolt guns in the squad. Hitting on 3s. Re-rolling because of the captain. All hit. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3, so wounding on 3s. All wound. They then get a 6-up cover save because technically this ruin is in the way. And all fail. They then have a disgustingly resilient roll, which they all fail. So that is 6 dead Poxwalkers. Then the 2 plasma guns will fire in normal mode, not supercharged, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s because of strength 7 versus toughness 3. And the 2 plasma guns have clear line of sight, so no cover save, so straight to the disgustingly resilient roll. And both fail on that. So 2 more dead Poxwalkers. And I just realized that the twin bolt guns are rapid fire 2, which means they actually should have had 12 shots at full range, so I need to do 6 more shots for them. Hitting on 3s, re-rolling because of the captain. All hit. Wounding on 3s. 5 wounds. 6-up cover save with 1 passing. And a flyer falls over. And then 4 5-up disgustingly resilient rolls. And that is all dead. So that is first blood to the Ultramarines for killing off those Poxwalkers. Finally, for shooting, the captain on the bike is going to shoot at this Demon Prince because that is the closest model. This Demon Prince is further away. He could shoot at Mortarion, but at this point, might as well shoot at the Demon Prince. Hitting on 2s, re-rolling because he's the captain. Both hit. Wounding on 5s because strength 4 versus toughness 6. So 1 wound. And he has a 3-up save, which he fails. and a disgustingly resilient roll, which he also fails. So that Demon Prince drops from 8 wounds to 7. And that is the end of the Ultramarines shooting phase. There will be no charges made in the assault phase because there's nothing that can charge that's within 12 inches. Since these bikes were outside of rapid fire range, they would definitely be outside of charge range of the Demon Princes. So that is the end of Ultramarines turn 1. And because they got first blood, they do get a victory point for getting first blood, bringing them up to 1 victory point total. And they did completely destroy an enemy unit for another victory point, bringing them up to 2 points total. Big Game Hunter will definitely be kept because that is possible. There are plenty of things with 10 wounds or more. But defend objective marker 4, score 2 victory points if you control objective marker 4 at the end of 2 consecutive turns. We're going to toss that because objective marker 4 is that one right there, which is going to take the entire game for the Ultramarines to even attempt to take at this point with how much firepower is sitting on it. So we will toss that one away since that does not seem to be achievable at this point. So that is officially the end of Ultramarines turn 1. Going into Death Guard turn 1, we're going to start off by pulling 3 tactical objective cards. So we have Witch Hunter, score 1 victory point if at least 1 enemy psyker was destroyed. Well, that will be thrown away at the end of the turn. Psychological Warfare, score 1 victory point if your opponent failed a morale test during this turn. If your opponent failed 3 or more morale tests, score D3 victory points. That's almost as unlikely. And Secure Objective 4, score 1 victory point if you control Objective 4 at the end of your turn. Well, that's going to happen, because Objective 4 is right there. Alright. So, starting movement phase. Bloat drones are going to move out. They have a 10-inch movement. So this bloat drone is going to move to here. The wounded bloat drone is going to move over here. The healthy bloat drone will also move over here and fall over. Wobbly model. That's pretty much where it would be. Plague Burst Crawler is going to sit still. Plague Burst Crawler is going to sit still. Land Raider is going to move 10 inches. Right to there. Foxwalkers are going to move up 4. Mortarion is going to move 12 and be just over an inch away from the Storm Raven. This Demon Prince is going to move 12 and be about an inch and a half. It's 2 inches away from those bikes. This Demon Prince is also going to move up 12. And be about 2.5 inches away from those bikes. And that's it for movement. So, going into the Psychic phase, we're going to start with Mortarion. And actually, we're going to start with the Wounded Demon Prince, who is going to cast Plague Wind onto the bikes. So Plague Wind has Warp Charge value of 5. If manifested, select a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Roll 1 dice for each model in that unit. The unit suffers a mortal wound for each roll of a 6. So, first we need to cast it on a 5+. And we get it. And there's 1 6, so 1 mortal wound. And a regular bike will die. Then this Demon Prince is going to cast Smite into that squad. Smite has Warp Charge value of 5. If manifested, the closest visible enemy unit within 18 inches, which would be the bikes, of the Psyker suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the result of the Psychic test was more than 10, the target suffers D6 mortal wounds instead. On a 5, and we get it on a 7. So D3 mortal wounds, 1. And we're going to command point that, dropping us down to 6 command points, hoping for a little bit more than that. Getting a 3. So 3 mortal wounds. And I just realized that Space Marine bikes have 2 wounds apiece, not 1. That's 7th edition of me thinking. So that kills off the bike that I took off already and removes 1 whole other bike for 4 wounds total. So I do apologize about that. So then with Mortarion, we are going to cast Miasma of Pestilence on himself, which has a Warp Charge value of 6. If manifested, select a visible friendly Death Guard unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of your next Psychic phase, your target must subtract 1 from all hit rolls that target that unit. So on a 6, and he casts it on himself. So now anything that targets him has to subtract 1 from hit rolls. He will then cast Smite onto the Storm Raven, since that is the closest enemy model or unit. And he gets it off. So D3 mortal wounds, getting 1. Which drops the Storm Raven from 14 wounds down to 13. And that is it for the Psychic phase. Moving on to the Shooting phase. The 2 Demon Princes do not have anything to shoot. Mortarion does, and will. He will target the bikes, because it states if you hit with this weapon, draw a straight line between the closest point of Mortarion's base and the closest model in the target unit. Make a single wound roll against the target unit and each unit the center of the line passes over. So this will circumvent the hard to hit rule on the Storm Raven. So hitting on a 2. Hitting hits. So we now have to make a wound roll against the bikes and the Storm Raven. We'll start with the bikes since they were the target unit. It is Strength 8 against Toughness 5 is a 3 to wound. And that is a wound. And it's minus 3 AP. So the bikes have a 6 up armor save because of that. 3 up armor minus 3 from the AP brings it up to a 6. And they fail. And then it is D3 wounds. And 1. So one of the bikes will take a wound. Then the wound roll on the Storm Raven. And it misses. It fails to wound. The Land Raider is going to shoot the heavy bolters into the tactical squad and the 2 twin las cannons into the Knight Titan. Twin heavy bolters. Hitting on 3s because he has the rule that allows him to move and fire heavy weapons normally. And it is a twin heavy bolter, so it's 6 shots, not 3. That's 7th edition of me talking again. Getting 4 hits out of 6. Strength 5 versus toughness 4. 3s to wound. Getting 2 wounds. And it is -1 AP, but they are hidden by the ruins, so +1 to cover from cover. So 3-up armor. And that could potentially have made a difference, but 1 dies. So they will now have to take a morale check. Then the 2 twin las cannons into the Knight Titan. It's going to be 4 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 9 versus toughness 8. It's going to be a 3 to wound. That's going to be 2 wounds. It is -3 AP, but Knight Titans do have a 5-up invuln against shooting attacks. So 2 5-ups. Both go through. And they do a damage of D6. So 2d6 damage. 5 damage. So that's 5 wounds removed, dropping it from 24 to 19. The Knight Titan is now registering 19 wounds. But he is still within his optimal capabilities right now. The bloat drones don't have any ranged shooting. The poxwalkers don't have any ranged shooting. So moving on to the 2 plague burst crawlers. Starting with this plague burst crawler, we're going to fire the plague spitters, which are in range. We're going to fire those at the Storm Raven. We're going to fire the Rot-Hail volley gun at the repulsor, and we're going to fire the plague burst mortar at this tactical squad over here on objective 1. So starting with the 2 plague burst mortars, or with the 2 plague spitters, I mean, they're assault D6 each, so that's going to be 9 automatic hits because this weapon hits automatically. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing in the rules that says that hard to hit makes it so that you can't target that unit with that weapon. It's strength user, so that's going to be strength 7 at this point versus toughness 7, so 4s to wound, getting 3 wounds, which is not statistical, and it's AP -1. So 4-up armor save. Failing 2. And it's only a damage of 1. So it loses 2 wounds, going from 14 wounds down to 12. Then, firing the Rot-Hail volley gun, which is heavy 3, onto that repulsor. Hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit. Strength 6 versus toughness 8 means a 5 to wound. And it fails to wound. Then the plague burst mortar into the tactical squad. is a heavy D6 weapon. So D6 shots, 2 shots, hitting on 4s, both miss. We will then move on to this crawler, which will fire its Rot Tail volley gun into the Storm Raven, because it can't really see that repulsor. And it will fire its Plague Burst Mortar into the same tactical squad. So starting with the Rot Tail volley gun, 3 shots, hitting on 5s this time because of the hard to hit rule, getting 2 hits, wounding on 5s, no wounds. Then the mortar, D6 shots, 5 shots, hitting on 4s, and all fail. And that's it for shooting. Moving on to the assault phase, we have a few charges to declare. This bloat drone will declare a charge on the repulsor. Both of these bloat drones will declare a charge on the Storm Raven. Since they have the fly special rule, they can charge the Storm Raven. Mortarion will charge this Storm Raven. This Demon Prince will charge the bikes. And this Demon Prince will declare a multi-charge on the bikes and the captain. So starting with Overwatch, this repulsor will overwatch into the bloat drone. Starting with the twin last cannon, 2 shots, hitting on 6s, 1 hit, strength 9 versus toughness 7, 3 to wound, minus 3 AP, so a 5-up invuln, which it fails, and it's going to do D6 wounds, so 3 wounds. It can make a disgustingly resilient roll for all 3, and it passes 1, failing 2. So the bloat drone goes from 10 wounds down to 8. We'll then shoot with the 3 storm bolters, which are all in rapid fire range. So 12 shots, hitting on 6s, getting 3 hits, strength 4 versus toughness 7, wounding on 5s, getting 2 wounds, 3-up armor, failing 1, 1 damage apiece, so 5-up disgustingly resilient, fails that, going down to 7 wounds. Then the 2 crack storm grenade launchers, 1 shot apiece on 6s, nothing. The 2 iron hail heavy stubbers, 3 shots apiece, 6 shots total, hitting on 3s or on 6s, no hits. Heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, it's 12 shots, hitting on 6s, getting 2 hits, wounding on 5s, getting 1 wound, minus 1 AP, so a 4-up save, which it makes. And then the 2 frag storm grenade launchers, which are assault D6. This is how many shots, getting 7 shots on 6s, getting 1 hit, wounding on a 5, failing to wound. Then for the charge roll, getting 11 inches. And that bloat drone is in combat. This Storm Raven is going to choose to overwatch into the wounded bloat drone. Starting with the Hurricane Bolters, 24 shots, hitting on 6s, getting 4 hits, wounding on 5s, getting 1 wound, 3 up armor, and it makes it. 2 Storm Strike missiles, hitting on 6s, 1 hits, strength 8 versus toughness 7, 3 to wound, and it wounds. And it is minus 3 AP, so we're going to get the 5 up invuln, which it fails. And it does D3 wounds, so 1, and a disgustingly resilient roll, which it fails. So going from 7 wounds down to 6. 2 crack missiles from the Typhoon missile launcher, hitting on 6s, nothing. And then the twin assault cannon, 12 shots hitting on 6s, getting 1 hit, wounding on a 5, strength 6 versus toughness 7, failing to wound. So, starting with the wounded bloat drone, 6-inch charge, more than enough. And the non-wounded bloat drone, also more than enough. This Storm Raven versus Mortarion, 24 shots from the Hurricane Bolters. Hitting on 6s, getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wounding on 5s, getting 1 wound, and needing a 3-up save. And it makes it. 2 Storm Strike missiles, nothing. 2 crack missiles, nothing. 12 shots from the twin assault cannon. Hitting on 6s, getting 3 hits, wounding on 5s, nothing. And charge roll, making it in. Then, going over to this side, we will start with the fully healthy Demon Prince charging into the bikes. There are 4 bikes left in the squad, so we'll start with twin bolt guns. They are in rapid fire range, so that's 4 shots apiece for a total of 16. Hitting on 6s, re-rolling thanks to the captain. So getting 5 hits. And another 4. For a total of 9 hits. Wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. Demon Prince. Has a 3-up save, making both. Then we have the 2 plasma guns in rapid fire range. So it's going to be 2 shots each apiece. And we are going to supercharge them. So I will have to roll these separately. So we'll start with the plasma gun to our left of the sergeant, his right. And then we'll do the one on our right, the sergeant's left. So 6s to hit. Re-rolling the 3. 1 hit so far. The second guy, 1 hit. Re-rolling the 4. Still a 4. So 2 hits. Strength 8 now. Against toughness 7 for 3s to wound. Getting 1 wound. Minus 3 AP. So we're going to go with the 5-up invuln. Which he fails. And it's 2 damage because it's supercharged. So a disgustingly resilient roll for each. And he makes 1. Dropping the Demon Prince from 8 wounds to 7. And so he will make his charge move. 8 inches. And hit. The second Demon Prince will charge in. And only the captain can overwatch. 4 shots on 6s. Re-rolling all. Getting 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. Wounding. 3-up armor. Makes the save. And his charge distance is going to be 6 inches. Which will be more than enough to put him within an inch of the captain. And he did do a multi-charge, so he is now in combat with both. So now, let's start off combat on this side with the Demon Princes. So this one will go first. And he has 7 attacks because of the 2 sets of Malefic Talons, which are melee weapons, strength user, AP minus 2, damage 2. And each time a model fights with Malefic Talons, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. A model armed with 2 sets of Malefic Talons can make 3 additional attacks with them instead. He has 4 attacks base, so 7 attacks total. Hitting on 2s. And strength 7. Wounding on 3s. Getting 3 wounds. AP minus 2, so the bikes go from a 3-up save to a 5-up. And they make 1. So they lose the wounded model, the last regular guy. And then have to take a wound on someone else. And they will take a wound on this plasma gun. Then this Demon Prince will go next. And he will attack the captain. 7 attacks. Hitting on 2s. Wounding on 5s. Or wounding on 3s. 2 failed to wound, so 4 wounds total. He's putting all of his attacks onto the captain. The captain, because of his armor, has a 2-up save, which then goes to a 4-up. So either way, he has a 4-up save from the invuln or the armor. And he fails all of them, but on a roll of a 6, he ignores it, and he fails all those. So I shouldn't do the rolls of the 6 yet, because these are 2 damage apiece, and so that's actually 8 wounds that he has to roll for. Well, that's the first 4. So 8 go through. He failed the first 4 6s. He fails the second 4 6s. So he just failed 8 wounds, and he only has 5 wounds base. So he just died. And that's a warlord kill. And looking at it, I should have activated his armor, but I did not think that he was going to fail all 4-up invulns. So that's unfortunate. So moving on to Mortarion versus the Stormraven. And we should have done a host of plagues for Mortarion as well. So this is for the Stormraven. And it does go off. So D3 mortal wounds on the Stormraven. And he gets 1. Okay, so from 13 down to 12. So he has 6 attacks. Hitting on 2s. And he gets to re-roll. You may re-roll failed hit rolls of 1 made for friendly Death Guard units within 7 inches of Mortarion. Okay, they all hit. And I totally forgot to pick which weapon we're using, so I guess we're going to use the Eviscerating Blow, since I only rolled 6 attacks. So it's strength times 2. So that's going to be strength 16, and he subtracts 1 from the toughness of enemies within 7 inches. So the Stormraven's only toughness 6 anyways, unfortunately. So wounding on 2s, getting 5 wounds, and it's minus 4 AP, so the Stormraven will not get an armor save. Oh, it is a plague weapon though, so I do get to re-roll that failed wound roll. I do make it then. And with his Arch Contaminator, it's re-roll all failed wound rolls anyways. Yeah, re-roll all failed wound rolls when resolving attacks made with plague weapon for Death Guard units within 7 inches. So yeah, he would re-roll that anyways, but especially since it was a 1. So all 6 then go through, and they're D6 damage apiece. So if we average 2 damage apiece, the Stormraven will just blow up. And it's dead. That is a total of 18 damage. So the Stormraven is dead. But before we remove it from the battlefield, we need to roll a d6, and on a roll of a 6, it crashes and explodes, and each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. So, here's the roll, and it does not explode. So it is removed from play. Then moving on to this Stormraven versus the Bloat Drones. This Bloat Drone still has 6 wounds and is still at maximum capacity. So I will have both Bloat Drones attack at the same time, since it won't matter for order-wise, and they're all attacking the same unit. So with their Flesh Mowers, which can make an additional make an additional 6 attacks, which we will definitely want to use. They have 9 attacks each. We'll do them separately. So the Wounded Bloat Drone, hitting on 4s. That was a good hit. Getting 6 hits. Strength 8, thanks to the Flesh Mower, versus Toughness 7. Means 3s to wound. All wound. And the Flesh Mower is minus 2 AP, so a 5-up armor save on the Stormraven. Passing 2. 4 make it through. And it's 2 damage apiece. So that's 8 damage that goes through. So dropping it from 12 to 4. So now the healthy Bloat Drone will attack, hitting on 4s, getting 5 hits, wounding on 3s, getting 3 wounds, 5 up armor, making 2, but 2 more damage goes through, dropping it from 4 to 2 wounds. Then this bloat drone will attack the repulsor. 9 attacks, hitting on 4s, getting 5 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 4s, getting 3 wounds. Repulsor has a 3-up save, so goes up to a 5-up, fails all of them, so takes 6 damage. Had 16 wounds, now it is down to 10. And now the Ultramarines get to attack back. So the repulsor will go back this way. So starting with the repulsor, has 6 attacks, hitting on 6s, getting 2 hits, strength 8 versus toughness 7, wounding on 3, getting 1 wound, and there's no AP or anything, so a 3-up save, and he makes it. Then the Storm Raven, which is now down to 2 wounds, has 1 attack, hitting on a 6, fails. Finally, the bikes. We'll start with the Biker Sergeant, who has 2 attacks with his Power Fist, 3+ weapon skill, but the Power Fist makes him subtract 1 from the hit roll, so needing 4s. Getting 1 hit, strength 8 versus toughness 6, gets a wound, -3 AP, so we're going to go with the 5-up invuln on the Demon Prince, which he fails, and it does D3 wounds, doing 2 wounds. Disgustingly resilient roll for both, fails both. So he goes from 7 wounds down to 5. Then the 2 regular bikes have 1 attack each, hitting on 3s, 1 hit, strength 4 versus toughness 6, wounding on a 5, nothing. So then, at the end of the movement, this guy will consolidate more into the combat, and that's it. So then, for the morale phase, we have a morale test on the Tactical Marines, which they make. They lost 1 model, which goes up to an 8, but the sergeant's leadership is 8, so they passed that. Then, going over to the bikes, they lost 3 models, so that's going to be an 11. And the biker sergeant is still alive, so leadership 8s. They lose by 3, but they are Space Marines, and so they can re-roll failed morale checks. So they lose 1 more guy, because they lost 3, so that goes up from a 6 to a 9. They have a leadership of 8, so we will remove the wounded plasma gun. And that is the end of Death Guard turn 1. So let's take a look at the objective cards. So we're going to toss Witch Hunter, because that is impossible to achieve. We did get a point for Slay the Warlord. Opponent almost failed a morale check, so we'll hang on to that. And we did secure Objective 4. So we get a point for that. So at the end of turn 1, a lot of things have died. Far more things on the Ultramarine side than the Death Guard side. But the score is currently tied at 2-2. Going into Ultramarines turn 2, I'm going to start by drawing some new objective cards. So first one is Overwhelming Firepower. Score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during the shooting phase of your turn. If 3 or more enemy units were destroyed during the shooting phase of your turn, score D3 victory points instead. Okay. Honor Your Chapter. Score 1 victory point if an enemy character lost a wound as the result of an attack made by one of your characters during this turn. If any enemy characters were slain as a result of such an attack, score D3 victory points instead. Well, it might be hard for the Primaris Lieutenant to charge Mortarion over there, but we'll see. So going into the movement phase, the 3 tactical Marine squads will sit still, as will the Knight Titan. However, the 2 bikes here are going to fall back 12 inches. And the Storm Raven is going to fly 20 inches over this direction. This repulsor is going to move back a couple of inches just so it's out of close combat with the bloat drone. At the end of the Ultramarines turn to movement phase, these 3 Inceptors are going to drop in. They have to drop in at least 9 inches away from an enemy model. But they're going to drop in on this objective over here. Just over 9 inches away from the Demon Prince that only has 5 wounds. No psychic phase for the Ultramarines. Starting with the Ultramarines shooting phase, we're going to have these 3 Inceptors shoot into the Demon Prince with 5 wounds. They have 6 shots apiece from their 2 assault bolters each. So 18 shots total, hitting on 3s. And that is a terrible roll. Absolutely awful. Getting 6 hits out of 18. Strength 5 against toughness 6. Wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP. So the Demon Prince has a 4-up armor save, which he makes 1 of. And then a 5-up disgustingly resilient roll, which he fails, going from 5 to 4 wounds. That tactical squad is going to fire its crack missile and 4 bolt guns into the Demon Prince. So the 4 bolt guns first, hitting on 3s, getting 1 hit, wounding on a 5, wounds, 3-up armor, fails, 5-up disgustingly resilient, fails. Down to 3. Then the crack missile, hitting on a 3, hits, strength 8 versus toughness 6, wounding on a 3, and it fails to wound. This Storm Raven, this very heavily wounded Storm Raven with 2 wounds left, is going to fire both of its Hurricane Bolters into the Poxwalkers, and everything else it's going to fire at the Demon Prince with 3 wounds. So the 24 shots from the Hurricane Bolters. And now, because it's down to now that it's down to 2 wounds, it has a ballistic skill of 5+. There's going to be a lot of misses in here. However, getting almost as many hits as the Inceptors did, with 5 hits, wounding on 3s, 5 up disgustingly resilient roll, and they save 1. So 1 dies. Then the 2 Storm Strike missiles into the Demon Prince on 5s, both miss. 2 Crack missiles on 5s, 1 hit, 3 to wound, and it wounds. 5 up invuln save or 5 up armor because of the -2 AP, and it makes it. Then the 12 assault cannon shots on 5s, getting just as many hits as the Hurricane Bolters did, but with half the shots. Wounding on 4s, getting 3 hits. 4 up armor, failing 1. 1 disgustingly resilient roll, and it fails. Down to 2 wounds. We'll have the Crack missile from that Tactical Marine squad fire into the Demon Prince on a 3, and it hits. Wounding on a 3, and it wounds. 5 up invuln, and it makes it. That tactical squad Crack missile into the Bloat Drone, hitting on a 3, hits. Wounds on a 3, wounds. 5 up invuln, makes it. The Night Titan is going to shoot everything it has, everything that it can, into Mortarion. Starting with the Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, 2d6 shots, getting 9 shots, hitting on 3s. That is just terrible. 2 hits. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7. So 2 wounds. 4 up invuln. And I just remembered that he has the -1 to hit. And so I'm pretty sure one of those was actually a miss. But we'll say they both hit. 2 4 up invulns. I'll have to remember in the future. Both fail. Watch this be the difference. D3 wounds each. So 3 wounds total. Disgustingly resilient. And he makes one of them. So he goes from 17 wounds down to 15. Then the Avenger Gatling Cannon. 12 shots. We'll have to remember hitting on 4s this time. Wounding on 5s. Getting 3 wounds. 4 up invuln. He makes 2. And a disgustingly resilient roll. And he fails that. Dropping him to 14 wounds total. Then the 2 heavy stubbers. Hitting on 4s. 2 hits. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. 3 up save. Fails. Disgustingly resilient. Fails. Down to 11 wounds. Finally, the repulsor is going to shoot into the Bloat Drone with everything. Starting with the Twin Last Cannon. Getting 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. Or no, 3s. But both wound. 5 up invulns. And he makes both of them. That's just impressive. 3 Stormbolters next. Means 12 shots. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 5s. Getting 5 wounds. 3 up armor. Fails 2. Disgustingly resilient. Makes 1. Down to 6 wounds. Two Crackstorm grenade launcher shots. Both hit. Strength 6. Wounding on 5s. Nothing. 2 Iron Hail Heavy Stubbers. 6 shots total. Hitting on 3s. 5 hits. Wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. 4 up armor. Makes 1. Disgustingly resilient. Fails. Down to 5. Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon. Hitting on 3s. 12 shots. Getting 7 hits. Wounding on 5s. 4 up armor. Fails 1. Disgustingly resilient. And he fails. 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, D6 shots each. 4 shots total. Hitting on 3s. Re-rolling the one that fell outside. Don't remember what that one was. I'm pretty sure it was a hit. But anyways, 1 hit. Wounding needed a 5 to wound and failed to wound. Before I forget, because that tactical squad fired at that bloat drone, those bolt guns actually would have been in range as well. At least 2 of them are in rapid fire range, so we're going to do the 6 shots from that, even though it's after the fact. 3s to hit. Need 5s to wound. Got 1 wound. 3 up armor. Failed. Disgustingly resilient. Failed. Made a difference. Down to 3. But that is it for Ultramarine shooting. So going into the assault phase, these Inceptors will declare a charge onto the Demon Prince. And as long as they are within 10, which they are, they're just outside of 9 inches, they will make it into combat. They're all within an inch of someone who is in combat. So the Inceptors, since they charged, will attack first. 2 attacks each from the regular guys, 3 attacks from the Sergeant, for 7 attacks total. Hitting on 3s. Getting 4 hits. Wounding on 5s. 3 up armor. And he makes it. He'll attack back with 7 attacks. Hitting on 2s. All hit. Wounding on 3s. 5 up armor. They all fail, and they're 2 damage apiece, and they're only 2 wound models. So all 3 Inceptors are dead. The Demon Prince will choose not to consolidate. And that's the end of the Ultramarines' turn. So in the morale phase, the Poxwalkers lost a unit, but they do not take morale checks. They do not have to take morale tests. We did not destroy an enemy unit. Not destroy an enemy unit in the shooting phase. And enemy characters were not attacked by our characters. And at this point, with how far away our Primaris Lieutenant is and the likelihood that he would be able to do anything against Mortarion or the Demon Princes, I'm going to toss that one and stick with those 2. So that is officially the end of Ultramarines turn 2. Going into Death Guard turn 2, we'll start by drawing some new cards. Score 1 victory point if you control objective marker 5. Well, that's guaranteed pretty much. And defend objective 5. Score 2 victory points if you control objective marker 5 at the end of 2 consecutive turns. Well, that technically will already have been done, but we can definitely, the Death Guard can definitely hold on to objective marker 5 until the end of turn 3, so at this point there's no point in worrying about that. Anyways, going into the movement phase, this bloat drone is going to move 6 inches over this way. Since now that it's down to 3 wounds, that is the... Oh no, it could technically move up to 8, so we will move it another couple. There we go. Alright, that much closer. Fully healthy bloat drone is going to move 10 inches over towards the repulsor. This bloat drone, which can still move fully, is going to move 10 inches this way. Wobbly model. Chaos Land Raider is going to move 10 inches over to here. Demon Prince with 2 wounds left is going to move 12 inches up to there. Demon Prince with 7 wounds is going to move closer to that tactical squad. Mortarion is going to move nice and close to the Storm Raven, just outside of an inch. And that's it for movement. So for Psychic Phase, start with Mortarion. He will cast Smite onto the Storm Raven. Warp Charge 5. Gets it off. D3 mortal wounds. And the Storm Raven's just dead. He moved closer in order to charge, but that was unnecessary. He will then cast Miasma of Pestilence onto these Poxwalkers, just in case. And it goes off, so now it's -1 to hit them. Just as insurance, want to keep that objective secure. So this Demon Prince is going to cast Smite onto those bikes, and he gets it off. D3 mortal wounds, does 2, and we're going to take off the other plasma gun. Actually, no. We're going to keep the plasma gun. We're going to take off the sergeant, because the plasma gun is going to be more useful in Overwatch. That Demon Prince, the one with 7 wounds, is going to cast Smite onto the Tactical Marines. We got to use 2 dice here. Gets it with a 7. D3 mortal wounds, and also gets 2. So we'll take off 2 regular dudes from the back and knock over a Demon Prince in the process. At the very least, forcing a morale check. And that's it for the Psychic Phase. On to the Shooting Phase. We're going to start with the Land Raider. Twin Heavy Bolter into the Tactical Marines. 2 Twin Last Cannons into the Night Titan. Starting with the Twin Heavy Bolter. Hitting on 3s. Getting 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. Getting nothing. 2 Twin Last Cannons. Hitting on 3s. Getting 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. Getting 1 wound. 5 up invuln. Makes it. This Plague Burst Crawler. Rot Hail Volley Gun onto the repulsor. The mortar is going to shoot the Night Titan. Rot Hail Volley Gun first. 3 shots, hitting on 4s. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound, -2 AP. So 5 up armor save from the repulsor. And he makes it. D6 shots from the mortar onto the Night Titan. Getting 5 shots. Hitting on 4s. Getting 3 hits. Strength 8. Toughness 8. Wounding on 4s. Getting 2 wounds. 5 up invuln. Makes both. This Plague Burst Crawler is also going to shoot its mortar at the Night Titan. With 5 shots as well. Hitting on 4s. Hitting 2 hits. Wounding on 4s. 2 wounds. 5 up invuln. Makes 1. D3 damage. 2 damage. Drops it from 19 down to 17. Nothing is within range of Mortarian's gun. So that is the end of the shooting phase. Moving on to the assault phase. Bloat Drone declaring a charge into the Tactical Marines. Bloat Drone declaring a charge into the Repulsor. He is technically within range. Bloat Drone declaring a charge into the Tactical Marines. Demon Prince declaring a charge onto the bike. Demon Prince declaring a charge onto the Tactical Marines. So if we start with this group over here, we're going to do Overwatch. Starting with a crack missile on a 6. Nope. And the bolt guns on 6s. 2 shots apiece, 4 bolt guns. 8 shots total, 2 hits. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. 3 up armor. Makes it. Charge range. Definitely in. The repulsor onto the fully healthy Bloat Drone. Starting with the Twin Last Cannon. 1 hit. 3 to wound. Fails to wound. Storm Bolters. 3 Storm Bolters in rapid fire range. Going to be 12 shots total. On 6s. Getting nothing. 2 crack Storm Grenade Launcher shots. Getting 1 hit. Needing a 5 to wound and failing to wound. 2 Iron Hail Heavy Stubbers, 6 shots total. Hitting on 6s, no hits. 12 shots from the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon. Hitting on 6s, getting 3 hits. Wounding on 5s, getting 1 wound. 4 up armor save because AP -1, and it passes. And then finally, the 2d6 Frag Storm Grenade Launcher shots. Getting 5 shots total. On 6s. 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. And fails to wound. It's charge distance. Forgot this last time, but I have to subtract 2 Although the last time it made it just fine, this time he does as well. Float drone into the tactical marines. Crack missile. Nope. Fails to hit. And 3 bolt guns. 2 hits from the bolt guns. Wounding on 5s. Nothing. Charge distance. 8 inches. That will not be enough. Definitely be over an inch away. Wounded Demon Prince, heavily wounded Demon Prince into the bike. 4 bolt gun shots from the twin bolt gun on 6s. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. 3 up armor. Fails. Disgustingly resilient. Makes it. We're going to supercharge the plasma gun and go for broke. Needing 6s. Getting 1. Wounding on a 3. And it wounds. 5 up invuln. And he makes it. Charge distance. 8 inches. And he's in. Then the tactical squad. Crack missile. Fails to hit. 2 bolt guns, 2 shots each, 4 shots total. Hitting on 6s, nothing. And charge range, 5 inches. And he's in. So we'll start with the Demon Prince with 7 wounds. 7 attacks, hitting on 2s. Getting 5 hits. Wounding on 3s. Getting 4 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so a 5 up armor save instead. And they fail 3. And that's all 3 of them. Demon Prince against the bike. Hitting on 2s. Getting 6 hits. Wounding on 3s. Getting 5 wounds. If he fails a single one of these, he's dead. 5 up armor. And he's dead. This bloat drone against the tactical marines, down to 8 attacks, because he's down to 3 wounds. Hitting on 4s. Getting 3 hits. Using the flesh mower, of course. And he's only at strength 7 now, so now he's not wounding on 2s, but wounding on 3s instead. All wound, of course. 5 up armor. And they make 2 of them. So just 1 dies. Finally, the bloat drone against the repulsor. Hitting on 4s. 9 attacks because he is fully healthy. Getting 5 hits. Strength 8. Against toughness 7, wounding on 3s. Getting 4 wounds. 5 up armor save from the repulsor. Fails all of them. So that is 2 damage apiece. And that drops another 8 wounds off. So it drops him from 10 to 2. Now the Ultramarines get to fight back. So we'll do the repulsor first. He has 1 attack, hitting on a 6. And he hits. He is strength 8, so wounding on a 3. Fails to wound. The tactical marines will also hit. Sergeant has 2 attacks. The regular guys have 1 attack each, for 5 attacks total. Hitting on 3s. Getting 3 hits. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. 3 up armor. And he makes it. So now going into the morale phase, the tactical marines lost 1 model. And they passed the morale check. So that is the end of Death Guard turn 2. We did not cause anyone to fail a morale check, and at this point, I don't think they would. So we're going to toss that one. We have secured objective 5, and while technically we've already completed defend objective 5, we will complete that at the end of next turn. So we will hold on to that for now, which brings the total score at the end of turn 2 3-2 in Death Guard's favor. Start of Ultramarines turn 3. We're going to draw a new objective card. Psychological Warfare. Score 1 victory point if your opponent failed a morale test during this turn. If your opponent failed 3 or more, score D3 victory points. Well, that's going to be pretty much impossible, because the Poxwalkers can't fail morale tests. The only other thing that could is the Plague Marines, which are inside the Land Raider. So that's a slight issue. So we're going to start all of the models inside the Repulsor disembark. So the Primaris Lieutenant will disembark over here, and the 9 Intercessors will disembark over on this side, making sure to stay within 3 inches of the tank. And that's all for disembarkation. So then into the movement phase, Primaris Lieutenant is going to move to be 1.5 inches or so away from the bloat drone. The Intercessors are going to move just under 6 inches to get away from the tank and to put themselves in a better firing range of other units, all of which can clearly see both the Land Raider and the bloat drone. The Repulsor is then going to move back to be just over 1 inch away again, and these tactical Marines will stay locked in combat with that bloat drone. And the Night Titan is going to move. Move to be just over 1 inch away. So that's the end of the movement phase for the Ultramarines. They have no psychic, so then we'll move into the shooting phase. This Primaris Lieutenant is going to fire his bolt pistol into that bloat drone, hitting on a 3, and he hits, wounding on a 5, and he wounds. 3 up armor, and he makes the armor. Then this Repulsor will shoot everything it's got into the bloat drone, starting with the twin last cannon, hitting on 3s, 1 hit, wounding on 3s, and it wounds. 5 up invuln, fails, d6 damage, 5 damage. Disgustingly resilient roll for each one. He fails 4. So he drops from 10 wounds down to 6. Then we'll fire the 3 Stormbolters. 12 shots, hitting on 3s. And we're not hitting on 3s. We are hitting on 5s. We're hitting on 5s. So that makes a really big difference. Still got 5 hits out of it. I think one of the hits from the last cans was a 6. So we'll say that was the one that did the wound, but we're going to redo that in a moment here. Anyways, 5s to wound with the Stormbolter, getting 3 wounds. And failed 1 3-up armor save, and a disgustingly resilient roll. He passes. Okay. So now we're going to redo the last cannon. I know one of them hit, one of them missed because we're hitting on 5. So here's the 1 to wound roll, and it wounds. Okay. 5 up invuln. He fails. How many wounds? How much damage? 2 damage this time. Disgustingly resilient, and passes 1. Okay, so he only loses 1 wound instead of 4 from the last cannon. but he definitely lost the 1 wound. We can say for sure, because we know that one of them hit. Anyways, onto the crack storm grenade launchers. 1 shot each, and there's 2 of them. Hitting on 5, so nothing hits. 2 Iron Hail heavy stubbers, 6 shots total. Hitting on 5s, 1 hit. And that's a wound. Needed a 5 to wound, got a 6. Minus 1 AP, so a 4-up armor. Makes the armor. Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, 12 shots. Hitting on 5s. That's a lot of hits. Where was this the rest of the game? Good grief. Wounding on 5s, getting 3 wounds. 4-up armor. Failed 1. Disgustingly resilient. Fails. Down to 8 wounds. And then the 2 frag storm grenade launchers. Getting 4 shots total. Hitting on 5s, 2 hits. Wounding on 5s, 1 wound. 3-up armor. Fails. Disgustingly resilient. Fails again. Down to 7 wounds. That tactical squad is going to shoot everything it's got into the bloat drone. 3 bolt guns in rapid fire range. Hitting on 3s, and that's an awful roll. Wounding on a 5. Wounds. 3-up armor. Makes it. Crack missile. Fails to hit. All 9 intercessors are going to shoot rapid fire into the bloat drone for a total of 18 shots. Hitting on 3s. Getting 12 hits. Wounding on 5s. Getting 3 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 4-up armor. Failing 1. And a disgustingly resilient roll. Fails. Down to 5 wounds. Now for the Night Titan. The heavy flamer and the 2 heavy stubbers are both going to fire into the bloat drone. The rapid fire battle cannon is going to fire into the Land Raider. And the Avenger Gatling cannon is going to fire into the Demon Prince with 2 wounds. So we'll do the heavy flamer first. D6 hits. 3 hits. Wounding on 5s. No wounds. The 2 heavy stubbers. 6 shots total. Hitting on 3s. Getting 4 hits. Wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. 3-up armor. Fails both. 2 disgustingly resilient rolls. Fails 1. Down to 4 wounds. Rapid fire battle cannon. 2d6 shots into the Land Raider. 6 shots total. Hitting on 3s. Getting 4 hits. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound. 4-up armor save. And he makes it. Avenger Gatling cannon. 12 shots, hitting on 3s. Getting 8 hits total. Wounding on 4s against the Demon Prince. Getting 4 wounds. 5-up invuln. Making 1. And they're 2 damage apiece, so that's 6 damage total. With 5-up disgustingly resilient roll. And he makes 1, so he takes 5 wounds and dies. Unfortunately, for the Ultramarines' tactical objectives, Demon Princes are only an 8 wound model, not 10. So they will not complete the objective by killing that Demon Prince. Anyways, that's all of the Ultramarine shooting. So moving into the assault phase, we are going to declare a charge with this Primaris Lieutenant against the bloat drone. This Night Titan is going to declare a charge on the Land Raider. And that will be it. So this Primaris Lieutenant is just over an inch away, so he will automatically make it in. And this Night Titan is also just over an inch away, so he will automatically make it in. However, we do have Overwatch from the Land Raider first. 6 shots from the Twin Heavy Bolter. No hits. 4 shots from the 2 Twin Last Cannons. 1 hit. And a wound. And a 5-up invuln. And he makes it. So we'll do the close combat with the bloat drone first. Primaris Lieutenant has 4 attacks. And he's hitting on 2s. And all hit. And he has the Burning Blade, which is +2 strength, so it makes him strength 6, still wounding on 5s. But he re-rolls failed wound rolls of 1, which he got 1 of. It turned into nothing. So 2 go through, and it is -5 AP. So 5-up invuln. 1 makes it. 1 failed, and it's only 1 damage apiece, so 1 disgustingly resilient roll, and she fails. So down to 2. Then over here from the Night Titan, he has 4 attacks, but he has Titanic Feet, so he gets 3 attacks per attack, essentially, for 12 attacks total, hitting on 3s. And that's a lot of misses. Getting 5 hits out of 12. Strength 8 versus Toughness 8, 4s to wound. Getting 4 wounds with a 4-up armor save. And he makes 3. So D3 damage. Getting 2. So the Land Raider drops from 16 wounds to 14. Then we will go over to the Tactical Marines with their 5 attacks on that bloat drone. Hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits, wounding on 5s, getting nothing. So then the bloat drone will attack back, and now that he's down to 2 wounds, he only has 7 attacks. Hitting on 4s, getting 6 hits, wounding on 3s, because he's strength 6 now, with the flesh mower. All wound. And all of these are going on to the Tactical Marines. I probably should have made that clear, but that was the intention. 5-up armor. And 5 failed. So that's all of them. And now the Land Raider will attack the Night Titan. Hitting on 6s, nothing. So that's the end of the Ultramarines fight phase. There's no morales, because everything was wiped out pretty much. So looking at the tactical objectives, we're going to throw away psychological warfare, because that's pretty much impossible at this point to achieve. We did destroy an enemy unit in the shooting phase. Killed the Demon Prince. Get an objective or a victory point for that. Bring the score up to a grand total of 3-3, halfway through turn 3. And that is the end of Ultramarines turn 3. Going into Death Guard turn 3, we have some new tactical objective cards to draw. Secure Objective 6 and Secure Objective 3, which that Demon Prince is actually sitting on. So going into the movement phase, this crawler will sit still, crawler will sit still, that crawler will remain locked in combat, bloat drone I should say, not a crawler, that bloat drone will remain locked in combat, this bloat drone will move to just outside of an inch from the repulsor, this bloat drone is going to move 8 inches right to here. All of these guys are going to disembark. These guys will stay put. Mortarion is going to hop over 12 inches. and hold objective 6. And this Demon Prince is just going to move up closer to objective 3. So now that they're disembarked, the Plague Casters, staying an inch away from the Night Titan, are going to move out a little bit. So will the Plague Surgeon. And then the Plague Marines are all going to move about 5 inches or so towards the Intercessors. And then the Land Raider going to move back an inch. Actually, he'll move back a few inches. He'll move back like 6 or so. Because he can't shoot and might as well be further away. That's it for movement. Now, going into the Psychic phase. Going into the Psychic phase, this Plague Caster, the one further away from the Night Titan, is going to cast Putrescent Vitality onto the Plague Marines. It's a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select a visible friendly Death Guard unit, infantry unit with an 18-inch psyker until the start of your next Psychic phase. Add 1 to that unit's strength and toughness characteristic. Here we go, need a 6. And we get it with 7. He is then going to cast Smite onto the Night Titan. Getting it with a 9. D3 mortal wounds. Getting 1. We're going to use a command point and re-roll that. Down to 5 command points. And getting a 3. Well, getting a 5, but which means a 3. So down from 17 to 14 wounds. Then the Malignant Plague Caster that's closer to the Night Titan is going to cast the Gift of Contagion. Has warp charge value 7. Manifest, select a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Does not have to be the closest. And roll a d3. Consult the table below to discover what characteristic penalty all models in that unit suffer until the start of your next Psychic phase. This cannot reduce characteristic to less than 1. So they're going to cast it on the Intercessors, needing a 7, and gets it. So D3, getting the 3, which is -1 toughness. Wow, so the Plague Marines have +1 strength, and the Intercessors have -1 toughness. That's going to be crazy if that combat happens. And then, for his second power, he will cast Smite onto the Night Titan as well. He fails. But was not a Perils. So that's good. Mortarion and the Demon Prince are too far away to do anything psychic-wise. So, moving on to the shooting phase. We are going to have everything from the Plague Marine squad shoot at the Intercessors. So we're going to start with the 2 plasma guns, which will fire standard, since the Intercessors are now toughness 3. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 2s. Getting 2 wounds. They have 6 up armor because of the -3 AP. They fail. They are 2 wound models. It says 1 Intercessor dead. Now for the Sergeant's plasma gun, which I should have fired at the same time, but forgot about. 2 hits. 2 wounds. 2 6-up armors. 1 makes it. So 1 takes a wound. Then we have 3 bolt guns. On 3s. Wounding on 3s. That made a big difference. 3-up armor. Fails 2. So take off the wounded model. and put it on another wound. Put it onto another model. Plague Surgeon is going to fire a bolt pistol. He hits. Wounds on a 3. He wounds. 3 up armor. Makes it. Both Malignant Plague Casters are going to fire bolt pistols into the Intercessors. And yes, they are separate squads, so technically this should be done separately. However, all the same profile, and there's more than enough wounds there. So, no issue firing this together. Both miss anyways. That's what I get for firing them together. Rot Hail Volley Gun and the Mortar. Well, Rot Hail Volley Gun into the Intercessors, the Mortar into the Night Titan. So 3 shots from the Rot Hail Volley Gun. Hitting on 4s. Wounding on 2s, because strength 6 versus toughness 3. And it wounds. 5 up armor. And he makes the armor. Alrighty then. Mortar onto the Night Titan. D6 shots. 3 shots. Hitting on 4s. 1 hit. Wounding on a 4. And it wounds. 5 up invuln. Fails. D3 wounds. 1 wound. This mortar is also going to fire into the Night Titan. 1 shot. Hitting on a 4. Nope. And that's it for shooting. So going into the assault phase, declaring a charge with the Plague Drone, or Bloat Drone I should say, not Plague Drone. The Plague Marines are going to declare a charge into the Intercessors, and so will the Plague Surgeon, Bloat Drone, and so will both of the Malignant Plague Casters. They will both declare a charge into the Intercessors as well. Bloat Drone is going to declare a charge into the Night Titan. Overwatch. Repulsor is going to fire Overwatch. Twin Last Cannon. Nothing. 12 shots from the Stormbolters. On 6s. Getting 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. Nope. 2 Crack Storms. Nothing. 6 shots from the 2 Iron Hail Heavy Stubbers. Nothing. 12 shots from the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon. Getting 2 hits. Wounding on 5s. Nothing. And 2d6 shots from the Frag Storms. Getting 11. Hitting on 6s. Getting 1. Wounding on a 5. Nothing. And it's close enough that it's... Well, actually, we do have to subtract 2 from it. And he's in. Okay. Bloat Drone into the Night Titan. Starting with the Heavy Flamer. D6 auto hitting shots. 1. Wounding on a 5. Nothing. Avenger Gatling Cannon. 12 shots. Hitting on 6s. Nothing. 2 Heavy Stubbers, 3 shots each. 6 shots total. Hitting on 6s. Getting 2. Oh yeah, we'll hit with the Heavy Stubbers. Sure. 5s to wound, nothing. 2 D6 shots from the Rapid Fire Battle Cannon. Getting 8. Hitting on 6s. Nothing. They're going to use a command point to re-roll one of those. This is getting ridiculous here. And you get it to hit. Down to 1 command point. Totally worth it. If it wounds. On a 3. And it wounds. And we have a 5 up invuln, which we fail. D3 damage. 2 damage. 2 disgustingly resilient rolls. Makes 1. Hey, we took a wound. Drop from 4 to 3. And our charge range, we're in. Plague Marines are going to charge. So we have Overwatch. We have 7 intercessors left, all with bolt rifles. 14 shots. And I just realized right now that the tactical Marines that had been locked in combat over there, turn before, could have fired their bolt pistols in the shooting phase. However, I don't think that would have made a difference with apparently how resilient that 2-wound bloat drone is. Anyways, sixes to hit from the intercessors. We'll get 4 hits out of 14. 5s to wound. Getting 3 wounds. 3 up armor. All saved. Charge range for the Plague Marines. 5 inches. That's more than enough. Now the Plague Surgeon will charge. 7 inches. That's plenty. Then the Plague Caster that's farther from the Night Titan will charge. 7 inches. And then the closer one. 6 inches. We'll make it within an inch. So we're going to start with that fight between... Actually, no, because he didn't charge. So, we're going to start with this bloat drone against the repulsor. Still has 7 wounds left, so he gets 9 attacks. 4s to hit. 5 hits. 3s to wound, because he's still strength 8. And it's a plague weapon. So both of those ones get to be re-rolled. Didn't matter. 5 up armor. Fails all 3. And they're 2 damage apiece. So that repulsor is now dead. 4 damage more than needed. On a roll of a 6, it explodes. Sure doesn't. So it is removed. And that reminded me that I think I forgot one of the explodes rolls on one of the Storm Ravens. I don't think it would have mattered too much. Bloat drone against the Night Titan. 8 attacks, since he's down to 3 wounds. Hitting on 4s. Wounding on 5s. 5 up armor. Fails 1. Takes 2 damage. Drops down to 11. Plague Marines are going to fight. Plague Champion first, with his Power Fist. So we have 2 attacks. Hitting on 4s. 1 hit. Strength 10 versus Toughness 3. 2 to wound. 6 up armor save. Fails. And there's a wounded model. So he dies. Which also means, in hindsight, I probably should have had him attack after the regular Plague Marines. So it's not to waste the damage. But anyways. Next will be the Bubotic Axe. And he gets 2 attacks because he has Bubotic Axe and a Plague Knife. And no bolt gun. Hitting on 3s. And he misses. Of course. Then the 5 regular attacks. On 3s. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3. Wounding on 3s. Rerolling 1s because of plague weapons. 3 up armor. Fails 1. So another regular dude takes a wound. Plague Surgeon will attack next. He has 3 attacks. Hitting with the Bale Sword. On 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3. And it's a plague weapon, so re-rolling the 1. There we go. Minus 3 AP. So 6 up armor. Fail both. 1 damage piece. So remove the wounded model and put the wound on a new model. This Malignant Plaguecaster, the one that's more towards the middle first. He has 3 attacks. Hitting on 3s. Getting 1 hit. Strength 6 versus Toughness 3. 2s to wound. The Corrupted Staff is not a plague weapon, apparently, so no wound. The other Malignant Plaguecaster will attack. 1 hit. Apparently their close combat is not their forte. Wounding on a 2. And it wounds. -1 AP for 4 up armor. And he fails. D3 damage. Doesn't actually matter this time, because there's already a wounded model. So don't feel bad about that. Then, going to combat that was already in progress, that bloat drone with 7 attacks, hitting on 4s, getting 3 hits, wounding on 3s, strength 6 versus toughness 4, 3 wounds, 5 up armor, fails 2, 2 damage apiece, that's 4 wounds gone. Primaris Lieutenant has 5 wounds, so he is down to 1. Now he'll attack back with 4 attacks. Hitting on 2s, all hit. Wounding on 5s. 2 wounds. 5 up invuln. Makes 1. 1 damage, so disgustingly resilient. And he makes it. Now over to the intercessors. 2 attacks base, 3 on the sergeant for 7 attacks total. Or no, 9 attacks total. 9 attacks. Hitting on 3s. 5 attacks hit. Wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. And I did not declare it, so we're going to assume that they're going on regular Plague Marines. Because they're all within an inch. Oh, because 2 of them can only attack characters. We're going to redo that, because that completely changes everything. So, 2 attacks on the far Playcaster, 2 attacks on the closer Playcaster, and then 5 attacks on from the sergeant and a regular dude on the Plague Marines. Alright. Far Playcaster, 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s, nothing. Closer Playcaster, hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s, nothing. On the Plague Marines, hitting on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 5s, 2 wounds, which I think is exactly what we had before anyways. 3 ups. 1 goes through, and a disgustingly resilient roll, and he makes it. Now the Night Titan, with only 11 wounds left. On to the drone. 12 attacks, but now only hitting on 4s. And that's quite a few 3s. 6 hits. Wounding on 3s. 3 wounds. 5 up. Failed all the invulns. Disgusting. Oh, before the disgustingly resilient, they are D3 damage apiece. So 3d3. So 5. 5 disgustingly resilient rolls. I make 2, but I fail 3, and that is a dead drone. And that is the end of combat. So, going into the morale phase, the intercessors lost 5 guys. The intercessor sergeant has a leadership of 8. Okay, first roll. We're good. Totally forgot how leadership works in this game, in this new edition. So they stay. We have now defended objective 5 for 2 turns. So we had 2 victory points for the Death Guard for that. And we've secured objective 3 and we've secured objective 6. So that's 1 point each. Didn't even have to toss anything away. So now that puts us up to a grand total 7 victory points. And that is the end of Death Guard turn 3. Going into Ultramarines turn 4, we have some new objective cards to draw. Supremacy, score D3 victory points if you control any 3 objective markers at the end of your turn. Well, that's going to be very difficult to achieve. And defend objective 2, score 2 victory points if you control objective marker 2 at the end of 2 consecutive turns. Well, technically we've done that already, but we didn't have access to the card. So just like with Death Guard, this will be the first turn. So they would have to survive until the end of turn 5 in order to achieve that, which is not likely given the state of the board here. So going into the movement phase, we're going to move the Night Titan over to here, being just over an inch away from the Plague Marines and just over an inch away from the Land Raider. These intercessors are going to fall back since they're at a reduced toughness. These tactical Marines will stay put, and the Primaris Lieutenant's locked in combat. So that's the end of the movement phase. Going into the Ultramarine turn 4 shooting phase, we're going to start with the bolt gun or bolt pistol from the Primaris Lieutenant. Hitting on a 3. And he gets it with a 6. Wounding on a 5. Fails. But re-rolls failed wound rolls of 1. Fails again. Tactical Squad is going to shoot its 3 bolt guns into the Plague Marines and the crack missile into the Land Raider. 6 shots from the bolt guns. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. 3 up armor. Makes 1. And for the one that failed, a 5 up disgustingly resilient roll. Re-rolling the 1 because of the Plague Surgeon, which passes. Crack missile into the Land Raider. Hits on a 5. And that's a wound. Needed a 4 to wound. 4 up armor save, which makes. Night Titan is going to fire the Avenger Gatling gun, Gatling cannon, 2 heavy stubbers, and the heavy flamer into the Plague Marines. Rapid fire battle cannon into the Land Raider. Starting with the heavy flamer. D6 hits, 5 hits. Strength 5 versus toughness 6 now because of the psychic phase from the Death Guard's last turn. So wounding on 5s. And that cost a wound. 1 goes through. 4 up armor, which makes. 2 heavy stubbers. Hitting on 4s. Wounding on 5s. 3 up armor, which makes. Avenger Gatling cannon. 12 shots. Hitting on 4s. That's a lot of misses. 4 hits. Wounding on 4s. Strength 6 versus toughness 6. 5 up armor. Fails both. 2 disgustingly resilient rolls. Re-roll the 1. Both failed, so 2 Plague Marines die. Then the rapid fire battle cannon into the Land Raider. 2d6 shots. 5 shots. Hitting on 4s. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound. 4 up armor. And it saves it. And that is it for shooting. So, going into the assault phase, Land Raider will be charged by the Night Titan. So Overwatch from the Land Raider. 6 shots from the Twin Heavy Bolter. Nothing. needing 6s, and 2 twin last cannons. Nothing. Charge distance, and he's in. So we'll do that first. 12 attacks from the Titanic feat. Hitting on 4s. That was a good hit roll. Wounding on 4s. Getting 4 wounds. 4 up armor. It makes 3 of them. So 1 goes through. D3 damage. 3 damage. So from 14 down to 11. Then we'll have the Primaris Lieutenant go with 4 attacks. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 5s, re-rolling 1s. 1 goes through. 5 up invuln, and he makes it. Bloat drone will attack back with 7 attacks on 4s, wounding on 3s. 5 up armor, fails both. And the Primaris Lieutenant dies. Land Raider still has 6 attacks. Hitting on 6s. Nothing. And that's the end of fight phase. There's no morale because nobody lost anything that wasn't completely wiped out. So at this point, we did not obtain any new objectives. And at this point, it's going to be pretty much impossible to get supremacy. So we will toss that one. We have 3 units left, which is what we would need to hold any 3. But one of them fell back this turn. And all 3 are probably going to get wiped out in Death Guard turn 4. So that's the end of Ultramarines turn 4. Going into Death Guard turn 4, drawing 3 brand new tactical objective cards. Disgusting devotions. Whilst this tactical objective is active, keep tally of the number of successful disgustingly resilient rolls you make in each turn. Score 1 victory point if you successfully make at least 7 disgustingly resilient rolls during this turn. Okay. Overwhelming firepower. Score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during the shooting phase of your turn. If 3 or more were destroyed during the shooting phase of your turn, score D3 victory points instead. And score D3 victory points if your opponent's warlord has been destroyed during this or any previous turn. Oh, that pretty much secures the game in favor of the Death Guard. So, movement phase. First things first. Gonna back away with the Land Raider. Again. 12-inch movement from Mortarion. 10-inch movement from this bloat drone. This bloat drone only has 6-inch movement, and we'll move up to here. The 2 malignant playcasters are going to move to just an inch away from that Night Titan. This Demon Prince is going to move up to here. Plague Surgeon will move over to here. And these Plague Marines will move about 5 inches over there. Crawlers and Poxwalkers will stay put. Going into Death Guard turn 4 Psychic phase, we're going to start with this Malignant Plaguecaster. He's going to cast Smite onto the Night Titan, needing a 5, and gets an 8. D3 mortal wounds, getting a 1. We're going to use a command point, drop us down to 4, and re-roll that here, getting a 3. Been very consistent with that. Down to 8 wounds. He will then cast onto the Plague Marines Putrescent Vitality, just like last time. Needing a 6, and gets it. The other Malignant Playcaster, this one right there, will cast Smite onto the Night Titan, missing it with a 4. He will then attempt to cast Gift of Contagion onto the Tactical Marines, which he gets with a 7. And for the effect, -1 toughness again, although this time on a different squad. Mortarion will cast Smite onto the Night Titan, as he is within 18 inches. And he gets it off. Unfortunately, it was not an 11 for D6. And he gets 2. So the Night Titan is now down to 6 wounds. And then, because we can, we're going to cast Miasma of Pestilence onto the Land Raider. And we get it. Then, because we can, this Demon Prince is going to cast Smite onto those Tactical Marines. And does not get it. Going into the shooting phase, Mortarion is going to fire the Lantern into the Night Titan, hitting on a 2. He hits with a 3. There's no units in between, so wounding on a 4. And he fails. We will have Rot Hail Volley Gun and the Mortar into the Night Titan. Starting with the Rot Hail Volley Gun. On 4s. Hitting with 2. Dealing 5s to wound. Nothing. Now the Mortar, D6 shots. 1 shot. Hitting on a 4. And it hits. Wounding on a 4. And it wounds. 5 up invuln. And it fails. And it does D3 damage. 1 damage. Down to 5. This mortar will also shoot into the Night Titan. Getting 4 shots. Hitting on 4s. Wounding on 4s. Getting 1 wound. 5 up invuln or 5 up armor, doesn't matter. Bounced out. Failed the invuln. D3 damage. 2 damage. Down to 3. Here's where we're going to try to be a little sneaky on the Plague Marines. I'm going to have the Plague Marines fire their plasma guns into the Night Titan, and the 2 bolt guns are going to go into, or no, the 1 bolt gun that's left is going to go into the Tactical Marines that are -1 toughness. So here's the bolt gun, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds. I would say there's ruins in the way, so 2 up armor. Now for the plasma guns. We're going to supercharge them. So starting with the Sergeant. 2 hits. Regular dude. 1 hit, but not a 1. And the other regular dude. 2 hits. Hey, 5 supercharged plasma shots. That's what I'm talking about. Wounding on 4s. That made a difference. Extra wound in there. 5 up invulns. 2 go through. And those are 2 damage apiece because they're supercharged. So that is the death of the Night Titan. And on a 6, he will explode. He does not. So he is removed from play. We will have the bolt pistols from the Plague Surgeon and the Malignant Plague Casters shoot the Tactical Marines. We'll do this all at once because it's all the same. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 3s. And 2 up armor again. Both make. Going into the assault phase, I'm going to declare this bloat drone is going to charge those intercessors. The Plague Marines are going to charge the tacticals. The Plague Surgeon will charge the tacticals, and the 2 Malignant Plague Casters will charge the tacticals. So we'll start with the Bloat Drone versus the Intercessors. Overwatch from the Intercessors. It's going to be 8 shots. Hitting on 6s. Getting 3. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. 4 up armor. And he makes it. And his charge distance, easy. Plague Marines will charge the tacticals. So we'll start with Crack Missile on a 6. Nope. And then 3 bolt guns. 1 hit. Wounding on a 5. Yep. Charge distance for the Plague Marines, 11 inches. They will definitely be in. Plague Surgeon. Oh yes. The closer Malignant Plague Caster, 7 inches. That's for sure. And the farther one, 7 inches. He can't make it. Not with going around. So, start with the Bloat Drone. 9 attacks on 4s. Getting 6 hits. Strength 8 since he's still at full capacity. Wounding on 4s. Or 2s, I should say. Wounding on 2s. Getting 5 wounds. 5 up armor. And they're all dead because they're 2 damage apiece. We're going to start with the Plague Marines, and we're going to start with the Bubotic Axe. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Strength 6, because of the Psychic bonus, versus Toughness 3. Wounding on 2s. And it's a Plague weapon. So, re-rolling 1s. 2 wounds. 5 up armor. Failed 1. So 1 Tactical Marine will die. Now the Power Fist will go from the Sergeant. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. Hitting on 4s, so no hits. Alright. Then 3 dudes with Plague Knives. 1 attack each. On 3s. On 3s to wound. Re-rolling 1s. And 3 up armor. Failed 1. Now the Plague Surgeon. 3 attacks. On 3s. Wounding on a 3. 6 up armor. And then the Malignant Plague Caster. 3 attacks. On 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. 2 wounds. 4 up armor. And that's it. That is the last Ultramarine model on the table. So that is officially then the end of turn 4. Obviously, if we go look at the points, we did actually kill 1 unit, the Night Titan, during the shooting phase. And I realize that this does not matter. Kingslayer, that's going to be D3. That's going to be 2 victory points. And we did not have to utilize any disgustingly resilient rolls because we did not get attacked that turn, so we can just toss that one away. Not that it even matters. Obviously, we hold Line Breaker. So the end result in terms of points, even without the tabling, at the end of turn 4, it is 11-3 in the Death Guard favor. And of course, the Death Guard tabled the Ultramarines. So this is declared a crushing victory for the Death Guard. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.